At DePaco Credit Union, we value your health and happiness as much as your financial well-being. We encourage the volunteer spirit by providing DePaco employees with the tools and resources to help grow our communities and support the causes that matter to us. We believe that giving back not only strengthens the places we call home, but also enhances our overall well-being. Well-being is the key to a life worth loving. So when you think about yours, remember that DePaco can help you be well.
All things Hawkeyes, your all-access pass. From courtside to the postgame. Iowa's News Now Sports presents Eye on the Hawks. Sponsored by DePaco Community Credit Union and Pin Seekers.
I thought we played good, but I like to win. I mean, I don't know, I'm just not into the other stuff. It's a 2-point game. We want to win. Just win. It is what it is. So I don't know. I don't probably buy into that much.
Well, they didn't do a whole lot of that last night. Welcome to Eye on the Hawks with Owen Sebring, Mike Howell. Got Anna back spinning on the ones and twos in the director's booth. First time with her in the director's chair. So we're happy to have her with us joining the Eye on the Hawks team. So let's tee things off here with Pin Seekers, and we're going to jump right into the recap of the Iowa State men's basketball game from last night. Yes, Mike, I'm seeing a finger raised already.
Well, the way you came out, the reason I picked that side is because I think that's the mentality you have to have. I saw a lot of fans, and, perspective-wise, it probably is a moral victory. You go into the top 4 team in the country, you play tough, you have a huge lead, but that should not be, losing should not be celebrated. That's why I picked that, and I thought it was a good message to his team and to fans. It reminds me of the football season. All these close losses. Mm-hmm. I'm so sick of that, right, as a Hawkeye fan. Let's win the damn game.
Yeah.
So I love that attitude, and I just thought it was just the perfect way to end that night. So wanted to explain.
Did you feel like, because earlier this week, I remember you really, not having much confidence about the Hawkeyes winning the men's game, that you were like, boy, Iowa State's so good. Getting into that game, I mean, do you see it as any sort of a moral victory, or afterwards are you like, does the closeness and having a 13-point lead in the first half, does that make it harder for you?
It makes it harder because you could have won that game if, I think he mentioned in his post-game presser, that night was a 19-0 run to start the second half. That needs to be a 6-0 run.
Right.
And if that's the case, maybe they do pull it off. You could tell how talented Iowa State was, though. Mm-hmm. I think you have to. Last night I was definitely pissed. I was like, that was one that got away. Even though I still think Iowa State is a much better team. I think you saw Iowa could compete with these teams a lot better than last week against Michigan State. So yes and no. You're happy they fought. A road game against a top 5 team. You're not going to win too many times. Mm-hmm. But they have 3 games against top 10 teams, top 12 teams at home, Purdue, Illinois, and Michigan. Can they knock one of those off? Can they knock 2 of them off? That'd be the one. Those are later. Illinois is in the first half of the Big Ten season. The other 2 are in the second half. So ways away. So a lot to happen. But that's what you got to be looking at.
Yeah, Illinois, January 11th. Purdue, January 14th. We don't have rankings attached to these games yet when we get to January, at least on the Iowa men's basketball schedule. So can't see how many of these are ranked games. But those are the ones that we're looking at. Who knows, maybe those Nebraska games turn into some big ones. Huskers playing some real good basketball right now. In terms of the men's game, I was certainly blown away by how well Iowa played in the first half. They were just totally shutting Iowa State down, had them out of sorts. At one point, Iowa State was shooting something like 19% from the field in the first half, just could not get it in a rhythm. And that was even without Bennett Sturtz playing his best ball. I don't know if Bennett Sturtz hardly took a shot in the first 10 minutes. They were not relying on Sturtz last night like they have in previous games, and maybe that's what ended up coming back to bite him a little bit. Bennett Sturtz finished with, 10 points and 4 assists, I think. Let me look at the box score here. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers for Sturtz, 3 of 11 from the field, 3 of 8 on three-pointers. I'm starting to feel more and more as the season goes, do you think that this team goes as Bennett Sturtz goes? If he has an off night, if he has a 10-point night, then a win is unlikely for the Hawkeyes?
I don't think so. I mean, I think you have to go game by game, because in this specific situation is because Killian Torrey was so good on defense. He was, going through screens. He was going underneath them, and Bennett just didn't have a lot of room. The couple threes that he hit were like, one was like a deep NBA three.
Yeah. He had 1-6 step back that he just roasted his defender, yeah.
I think you have, and that was, Torrey wasn't on the court. It was on maybe Buchanan or someone else. I can't remember who it was on. I think you got to be encouraged, because if you think this team, is going to get to the heights of, maybe winning a tournament game, going to the tournament, maybe getting to the second weekend, who knows? Those are pipe dreams right now. They need second and third scorers to show up. So if you're 2 points away, 30 seconds from the number 4 team in the country, without Bennett having a good game, and I don't know if I'd phrase it that way. Of course, he didn't score a lot. He didn't have a good game. But I think it's more of a result of the Cyclone defense. That's really what caused that. They really focused. They put their best defenders on him. Obviously, that's what you do. They doubled him sometimes. They just made it hard for him to get anything going. So I think that's more of the reason why he played more than he had an off night. Just like he didn't have a lot of space to make anything go.
Right.
And, when he was spread out wide, that draws a defender out. They're never going to let him get a cheap open three. So, it spreads the floor out for other players. So, I don't know if the team will still go as Bennett goes, right? If he doesn't play well the rest of the season, they're probably not going to have a good season.
It just seems like still, and this is one of the subjects we talked about earlier this week when we had David Eichhold on the show, that they're still figuring out who their number 2 guy is. I mean, last night their leading scorer was Tavion Banks with 14 points. Is he their second best player? If Bennett has an okay, I'm like,
he's a good player, but
sure.
He's not going to be the leading scorer most nights.
Right. It's just like if Bennett has an off night, who are we going to? Who are we relying on? The women kind of have that mentality right now. They're having a well spread out team where it's like, Ava Hayden, who's played great, didn't have her best game against the Cyclones. And so, maybe we're looking at Hannah Stolke a little bit more when Ava gets into foul trouble. There's a lot of options on that team. But the Hawkeye men's team, I still just don't feel that way. We maybe thought that Fulgaris was going to be that guy, but he still has not started a game yet, I believe. Has he started a game yet for the Hawkeyes? I think he's come off the bench in every game at this point.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that you can't be the second best player and come off the bench. But at this point, that certainly has not been the case with Alvaro. And I don't know if it's Manyao. I don't know if it's Tavion. I don't know if Cooper Koch ends up being that guy. He's just a redshirt freshman. But that seems to be the biggest hurdle that the Hawkeyes need to find at this point. Yeah, you've got a guy who is probably going to play in the league with Bennett Sturtz, but what else do you got? You clearly have to find something else when he's maybe not shooting his best, or when the other team has a lockdown defender on him, because that's what you're going to have for the vast majority of the Big Ten schedule. To
me, when you mention players like Manyao and Banks, those are guys. I don't want to call them role players because they're starters and they're effective. But when it comes to offense, and they were the 2 leading scorers, weren't they? 10 and 14 points.
Manyao had 10, same as Sturtz.
Yeah. So those players, though, they're going to be relied heavily on defense, rebound, and stuff. And what I think happened last night with just the points was you saw some fast break opportunities. You saw Iowa State playing so high. They were 30 feet out on Bennett and on some other guards. That opens up room in the paint. So, when they were able to get some backdoor cuts, when they were able to get past that first line of Cyclone defense, there were 2s to be had. When I'm looking at a second scorer like that, I think I come down to 3 guys. It is Fulgaris, who I've been disappointed with this season when it comes to Power 4 players. I don't think he's made that step yet. Can he make it? It's still, long season still left to be played. Isaiah Howard, Tate Sage are 2 that I'm looking, and Cooper Koch. Those 4 right there, I'm like, can some of those players step up? Cooper had a good first half, I thought. Hit a couple of shots, I guess. He was 22 for 4, but I thought he hit that 1-3, I think. And then Isaiah Howard and Tate Sage have really played. Sage, really, the past few games.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
He's been awesome off the bench. And I wonder and he's just a freshman, too.
Right.
To play that well in Hilton, that's kind of impressive. So I wonder if he's going to blossom into a bigger role.
Yeah, honestly, he could be the guy that emerges as your second best player. I mean, just with the way he's looked in the last couple games, maybe he's the one that other defenses are going to have to start keying in on. You have to say that looking at the roster, obviously there were a lot of transfers coming in with the Drake guys, but if you exclude the Drake transfers, Iowa's 2 biggest gets from the transfer portal were Alvaro Fulgaris and Brennan Hausen. and that has not panned out great so far. Brendan Hausen, I feel like we've seen some games where he hasn't played at all, right?
Maryland, he didn't play.
Yeah, last night only played 4 minutes, chucked up one wild shot, and that was it for him.
To be fair, that was the end of the. There was like 2 seconds left on the shot clock.
Sure, yeah.
And it turned into points because the air ball was so bad that Iowa rebounded it underneath and put up a bucket and scored.
That's a shot assist if I ever seen one.
I know, right? Did you get an assist for that? No.
But you got to think that Hawkeye fans were hoping for a little bit more. You probably hope both of those guys were going to be averaging 10 to 12 points at this point in the year.
Yeah, 100%. Like, Fulgaris is the one that gets me, and I think
more than Hausen. I mean, Hausen coming in, it's like this has been a guy who played in the Big 12 the last couple of years.
That's true, but at this point, I'm like, this is going to be his role, right?
Right.
Like, he's not going to. I don't see him getting like increased minutes unless he starts playing. I wonder if it's the defense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in practice, so I don't know how he's playing.
Yeah.
Ben says he's a great teammate. He mentioned a few games ago that he was going to get in, but he's like, hey, Cooper's playing so well, just keep him in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of guy does that, Yeah. I think at this point in the season, why I'm so, like, Fulgaris is the one that disappoints me more is that I think Iowa needs him to get to their, like, top potential, whereas you can watch this team play, and Hausen's almost like not an afterthought. It's just like, man. But heading into the season, I thought Brandon Hausen was going to be a huge factor on this team. This hasn't panned out.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he's a guy that we're probably not going to see more of him unless – I mean, I think it was Eichel who talked about, like, he doesn't know, but maybe it is his defense that is what keeps him out of the game, because this is a Hawkeye team that is going to pride itself on its defense, and if he can't step up in that way compared to the starters, then he's probably not going to be seeing as many minutes as the starters are. But the game really did kind of come down to that. I think I figured out it was a 24-2 run. I mean, I feel like I felt this way at the time, and I still say it afterwards, that Jimmy Rogers coming out and dropping an F-bomb, let's beat the effing Hawks, like that felt like a momentum shift in the game. And after that point, which was at about the 3-minute mark in the first half, Iowa State went on a 24-2 run from there into whatever this.
That was under 4 timeout, though, right?
Under 4 timeout, yes.
Because the box score has.
But it was at the. I only know it was the 3:03 mark in the first half because, like, I took a video of it and that was what I saw on the clock. So, like,
it'd be a 3. Iowa scored a 3, so it'd be 20. What'd you say? 22.
I said 24-2. Is that not correct?
24-3. They hit a 3 after that.
Fair enough. 24-3. Yes. So after that point, though, Iowa State just went on their crazy run. You said at one point to start the second half. What was it? Did you say 19-0? Like, that seemed to be the point that really the game did.
Like the women's game, which we'll talk about soon.
Yeah, exactly.
The third quarter, quote-unquote, for men's because they don't have quarters. But
yeah. But that was the point that swung the game, and Ben McCollum had a chance to talk about that last night afterwards.
Yeah, we strung a few stops together. They make big runs like that. I think in the Purdue game, I think they scored like 8 straight buckets, and then it was all she wrote. And so you kind of knew that at some point there was going to be a run, like a violent run like that. And, it's just hang on and then, try to fight back and try to string a couple of your own stops together. And I thought our guys did a great job of that. You got to be more ready coming out of half. I think that's, you can't allow that kind of run. Hopefully in the future a run is, I don't know what it was, 15, 16, 19-0, somewhere in that range. You got to keep that at about a 5-0. We tried to call a timeout. I think I even called a second one maybe. Just couldn't get it stopped, couldn't get the snowball stopped.
I wanted to ask about a couple late whistles. There was a ball that went out of bounds at 26 seconds ago. It was off Iowa State. They gave it to Iowa State. But you didn't have a timeout left. That's a new rule. Do you regret not having a timeout left? And also with 9 seconds left, it seemed like you were really frustrated on that foul on Alvaro. Any thoughts on how that unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you save a timeout in that situation. I didn't have one. I hadn't checked to see who it was off of at this point. Probably just got to get the defensive rebound instead of letting it get into somebody else's hands, right? I haven't watched the last play. Just is what it is. I think the things that we have to do is correct ourselves and correct some of those turnovers out of the half and, some of the errant passes, just some of ththose things that we just, uncharacteristic mistakes that we need to get corrected.
I haven't had a thought about the timeout situation because I think he burned 2 timeouts in the midst of that 19-0 Iowa State run to start the second half. And boy, burning 2 timeouts in the first 4 minutes of the half, like that just is really putting you in a comfortable spot because he then had to take one I don't know when, somewhere else, kind of in the middle of this second half. But that ended up being what burned him because you don't have a challenge left at the end of the game. So that's.
No, I think he called the first one in the first half after they were up after Iowa hit a 3 to go up 30-17.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one I think you probably question more, right?
That's true.
Because sometimes he'll call timeout. I think he said this in a press conference that he'll call timeout after a good play instead of a bad one.
Right.
So you can go in. It's like a psychological thing. You go in the timeout and be like, keep playing like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching the game. You probably didn't get a good look at the out of bounds play.
Not really.
I thought it went off of Iowa. I don't.
The close-ups and slow-down Zapruder films I've seen have made it seem like it went off of Iowa.
Yeah, there was a potential that Lipsy hit it,
Right.
but to me it went off Iowa. So doesn't matter to me, probably not. But the foul, I do think I don't know. There was contact. You can say Jefferson initiated it, but I like the way Ben responded.
Yeah. Let's talk about the free throws right now because that's been a big topic of discussion lately with the Hawkeyes too. Last night, in just free throws attempted, Iowa State attempted 38, Iowa attempted 12 free throws.
Yeah,
Excuse me. Which game am I looking at here? No, sorry, I'm looking at the Iowa-Maryland game. Last night, the free throw was 5 were the amount that Iowa shot. They were 3 for 5 total. Iowa State attempted 23. The Maryland game, that's the one where Maryland attempted 38 and Iowa attempted 12. Before that was the Michigan State game where Michigan State attempted 25 free throws to Iowa's 17. So it's been in actually 3 games. I look back at all the box scores previous to that, and in their first games before the Michigan State game, every single one, they shot more free throws than their opponent. So this has only been an issue the last 3 games. But is there something there, or is this just a coincidence that they just have not been getting the calls the last few games?
Last night, I think you got to take it in, by itself. It was super physical, right? Iowa State was driving to the hoop more. Iowa, when they did drive, I think they passed out of it more because they were getting turnovers or whatever. There weren't as many fouls on shots for Iowa. I don't know why that is. I don't have a theory. Mm-hmm. Iowa does foul a lot, though. They're second worst in the Big Ten, 19 fouls a game. Only USC fouls more with 20. That sounds like an issue to me. I do think college basketball in general has a ref problem. Like, sometimes I think they call way too many, touch fouls. To me, if you go for a rebound and there's a foul and the player that was fouled gets the ball, just play on. Mm-hmm. Why do we need to call a foul there?
Yeah.
Iowa was in the bonus with 12 minutes left. Didn't get another foul until later in the game, right? So they went 10 minutes without a foul. Iowa State. Why is that? They're all up in, our guards' grills, hands on the backs, hands in your pocket. I can't speak to any one play, but it was happening all game. And then to be fair, Iowa was playing good defense too, up in their grills too. So who knows? I don't think it was bias. Maybe I think they're subconsciously biased anytime a ref is at a raucous
yeah. I mean, again,
crowd.
Two of these games, Iowa State and Michigan State, have been at very famously loud, obnoxious home environments with Hilton Coliseum and what's the name of the arena that Iowa State?
Breslin
Center. Yes, but so is that the factor? I mean, I can't look up any data on how many games the home team gets more free throws than the away team on their home court, etc. But do you think that is just part of the game at this point, especially with these 2 examples at least?
I think so. I mean, the Maryland game, though, it makes you wonder because, what'd you say? Maryland shot 38 free throws?
Yeah, Maryland shot 38. Iowa shot 12.
and they beat me by 20. So
that is a lot more free throws. That's crazy.
You're going to have a tough time competing with some top teams if you're going to foul 19 times a game. So that needs to be cleaned up. Now, are there some that are probably shouldn't have been called or bad calls? Yeah, I think so. But like Ben said, it is what it is. What can you do?
Yeah. Was anybody who was in foul trouble last night for Iowa? Tavion Banks had 4 fouls.
Emmanuel. Oh, no, that's blocks. Yeah.
Fulgaris had 3, but that was the only real foul trouble they got in against Maryland. Maniau again had 4. Sturts had 3. I mean, got to credit Sturts. The guy plays basically every second of each game, and for him not to be in more foul trouble is impressive.
He drew 5 fouls. Here's a question, though. Saw a lot of chatter from Iowa fans on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Is Bennett Sturtz playing 40 minutes a game hurting him? Because he played a lot. You could see a little tired at the end of the game. I mean, he's not going to make excuses. He's not going to want to come out. Does Ben need to rethink playing 40 minutes a game?
I just don't see why he should or needs to play 40 minutes a game from the coaching standpoint. Like, you should be able to have the trust in your bench to come in and provide some breathing room for your starter. Allow him to come on the bench and sit out for a couple minutes just to get a little bit of a breather.
And it's not like he was bringing the ball up every time. Like, Cale Combs was bringing up the ball half time anyway.
Sure.
He was playing a lot of off ball.
Sure.
So, like, instead of playing off ball and giving him breathers on sets where he doesn't do a lot of motion, why not just take him out? But, you know what? Ben McCollum's won 4 D2 national titles and took Drake to a 31-win season or whatever it was.
Right.
So who am I to question him?
And so, I don't know if at this point they're still finding that out, that if you're Bennett Sturtz, there is a difference between playing 40 minutes in a Big Ten game versus a MVC game or a Division II game. Like, playing 40 minutes in the Big Ten, that's a lot different. The amount of defensive pressure that you're going to be facing is a lot different than doing that at the D2 level. So I hope that he rethinks that a little bit. You know, not that he needs to be taking a lot of breaks, but, you know, I'd maybe like to see him down to like 36 minutes a game or something, just to allow him to have a little bit more breathing room. And that helps the team not rely on him so much. I mean, again, right now we've been talking about how much this team is depending and focusing on Bennett to be the guy to come out there and be the shot maker, be the shot taker, everything kind of going through him. And so you're going to find a little bit more comfortability in other rotations and other guys finding their footing or being able to get comfortable to being the shot taker when Bennett's not on the floor. So I don't know. I think that it would benefit Iowa in the long run, especially over these next 3 games when you're going up against 3 pretty inferior opponents, that we maybe see Bennett only play like 30 minutes, just so we can get some other guys some experience.
100%. And I think any other team would play him like 18 minutes, but I don't think Bennett's going to get like that low of numbers.
Yeah.
Here's the weird part about it, if we're going to wrap up on the men real quick. I didn't check before last night, but a couple days ago I checked the net rankings in KenPom, and I was ranked around 28-30. They actually moved up after last night.
Oh.
And the net, they're 24 and 22 in KenPom.
Wow.
So I think that shows you that the computers like them. I think they're top 40 in both offense and defensive efficiency. So there's still a lot to like about this team. But given the recent track record with Hawkeye fans in general, I know they have nothing to do with football, but even the last few years with Fran, like waiting for a quad 1 win, you're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to stack multiple ones up if you really want, you know, to get a good seed in the tournament.
Yeah.
Or make the tournament, to be honest.
Yeah, last question before we transition to the women. What does make it, after you've seen this team now go up against like 2 potential Final Four quality teams, what do you think makes this a quality season for Iowa? Has anything changed there? Has your mindset on what would make it a quality season changed at all? Do you think now, like, okay, maybe I thought they could just be a tournament team. Maybe now I think they could be a Sweet 16 team. Where's your mindset at right now?
I think just getting to the tournament, I think winning a game, you know, if you make it. Every year you go to the tournament, you don't want to lose your first one.
Right.
Obviously, this program hasn't been to the Sweet 16 since 1999, since I was 9 years old. And it's been, you know, a dream of every Hawkeye fan to see that streak snapped. But I think it's way too early in his career, and I can't wait till this McCollum has a few years under the belt where the recruits come in and they aren't, and no slide on the Drake guys because they're playing their butts off, and I think it's a lot better with these guys than if you would have had 10 random guys, because they know how to play together and they know how he wants to play, and I think the whole weird meshing stuff might have cost him a loss or 2 in the season. So obviously, like, happy that they're here, but once they get like Big Ten recruits, I'm excited to see where he can take this program.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Once those recruits start coming in, this could be a very different program. We do want to thank Pin Seekers for helping us tee this things off today. Before we transition to women, I have some interesting football knowledge that I just learned. Did you know that Iowa has only ever played in a bowl game under 3 different head coaches?
I did not.
Isn't that a little wild?
Kirk Hayden and Forrest Evashevsky.
Very good, yes. I would have thought that in the 40s or the 60s or something, they would have made a bowl game under one of their other coaches that I can't name right now. But those are the only 3 coaches who have ever even coached Iowa in a bowl game.
I know in the 20s, Iowa went like 8-0 one year, but the conference wouldn't let them go to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, there were
Was
situations.
39 still the same way, or is that because there was war?
Oh, could be.
I mean, U.S. wasn't in it, but
Yeah.
in 39.
Yeah, I was just looking at. I'm basing this on the Wikipedia page where I can look at Iowa's postseason games, and that's what it showed was just everything under Fry, Ferentz, and Evashevsky.
I'm Googling this. When did Big Ten start going to the Rose Bowl? Where did you see that? Just on Twitter or something?
This is on Wikipedia. That was like on Wikipedia. It shows like Iowa's postseason appearances, and so everything on there was under those 3 guys.
1947 is when they started going to the Rose Bowl every year. Michigan went there in 1902, but I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't done a deep dive on that, but that was what I found. Interesting stuff. All right, let's transition out of the women's game. I didn't get a chance to watch this game super closely on Wednesday night, the Cyhawk women's game, but it turned into, I think, the game that we were expecting. Iowa State did build a big lead in the third quarter. We're up by, 12, 13 points, I think, at one point?
17, I think. 17,
yeah. And Iowa worked their way back into it. Had a few chances at the end of the game. A lot of missed free throws by both teams, in that game. Overall, initial impressions on that one, Did Iowa impress you? Were you hoping for a little bit more out of Iowa that game? I think that maybe the biggest disappointment was Ava Hayden getting into foul trouble, and that really seemed to throw Iowa out of sorts.
Yeah, I was impressed at times. Other times, you could tell that this is a younger team. And, Jan mentioned in her post-game presser that a lot of Iowa State's core are juniors. A lot of Iowa's core are freshmen and sophomores, right? Obviously, they have some seniors with Taylor McCabe and Kylie Feuerbach. And but like the core and almost the 2 best players or the 2 most impact players with Chit Chat and Ava are sophomores. So like, does that maturity have to do with it? I thought the fouls against Ava, like maybe one was bad, but like a couple of them were just like, what are you doing? Right? Like you have to know that you need all the fouls you can get against one of the best bigs in the country. And like one of them, she swiped into a guard, got her 3rd foul, and it's like, just don't do that. The last one, I do have some, feel. I think Audie Crooks, like her play, I think she gets away with banging down low or before she gets the ball or like pushing. One time, she pushed Hannah to get some positioning. This is Hannah's 4th foul, and then Hannah's out of position. She gets the ball. Hannah gets back up, and then they call the foul on Hannah. It's just a little tough. Obviously, she's an awesome player. I'm not like criticizing her. I think sometimes she just gets the benefit of the doubt of the whistle, as do many stars. Right. So it's not like a crazy thing to say.
Yeah.
But Ava getting in foul trouble, I think it really shifted the game. In that third quarter.
Only played 16 minutes.
16 minutes for your best player.
Yeah.
We talked about it with David Eichel on earlier this week, that how she's probably the best player on the team. And Layla Hayes, still a freshman. This is her 11th game. I was looking into it in where did I put this stat? Okay. Hayden's plus minus was 6, positive 6. When Layla Hayes was in, minus 16. Like you could tell, and I think Layla Hayes is going to be awesome. Yeah. She's just super young, and going up against again one of the best post players in Audie Crooks is going to be a tough task. So I think that did have a huge impact on the game. Kind of messed with their offense too. Like they were playing through, they like to play through her, and if Chit Chat's not dominating the ball, like that's how they're going to play.
Such a small lineup for most of that game. I mean, Chit Chat played 37 minutes, Taylor played 36, Kyle played 33. Those are 3 small players for those 3 to be trying to handle things out there with Audie and with Addie Brown, who is, not a post player, but she's like got some size to her. Like
she plays the 4, right? I know she's not a post player, but she technically one of their bigs, but she can hit the shot from anywhere on the court.
Yeah. So that's just, the foul trouble is what really hurt them. I think I even said on Tuesday, or when we did our last podcast, I said, like, boy, I really think that Ava Hayden could be Audie Crooks' kryptonite. That did not pan out. Did not turn out to be the case.
I thought she did play well against her in the first half, in the first few quarters when she wasn't in foul trouble. Like, you could see that some of her shots were off, but that fadeaway that Audie has is just like unguardable sometimes.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple times where Audie missed, and then they got the rebound. It's like, Jan even said it, before the game. When she does, you have to make sure you get that rebound so they don't have a second chance. And didn't really. Although I believe, if I'm looking at the box score correctly, offensive rebounds, they both had 9 offensive rebounds. Here's the difference, though. Both teams did have 9 offensive rebounds. ISU, though, on second chance points, 12-3. So, like, when they got their offensive rebounds, the Cyclones, converted way more than Iowa did.
Yeah, I will say this is the game that we wanted to see out of Hannah Stolke. Just 10 points, but 15 rebounds for Hannah. That's the kind of game you want to see for somebody who you think is going to be playing in the WNBA next year. Fouls did turn out to be falling into Iowa State's favor again. They shot 20 free throws. Iowa shot 12, although it did kind of turn to a little bit of a fouling situation at the end of the game, so that might skew things a little bit in Iowa State's favor. But overall, that is what kind of dictated the story. It is interesting with Audie Crooks because it goes both ways in terms of the benefit of the doubt, because there are some times where, yes, she does get that because of her size, but there are other times where it seems like players can be maybe a little bit rougher with her than somebody else, and because Audie is so big, has so much size that like she can absorb a lot of that contact, that like maybe she's not going to get all the foul calls of somebody else. Like she's probably one of the hardest players in the country to call a foul for or against, just because of the way that she plays the game and just because we haven't seen many players like her in college basketball.
Yeah, I agree. And there's similar players too, like Lauren Betts. She's a tough one to ref, and I think Cardosa had some of that too, just because they're just so much taller than everyone else. Like, you have to, try in front of them and double team them, and there's a lot of, I'm trying to block, but then I hack you. So, yeah, you're right. It's pretty tough.
Yeah.
But, I think when it comes to the free throws, though, I think both team either shot 50% or lower. So if Iowa hits more of their free throws, maybe it's 100%. A game. But you could say the same thing about Iowa State. If they go
a mess,
they go 60 or 70%, then maybe it's not even close.
50% for Iowa, 45% for Iowa State. Just atrocious free throw shooting, which is weird because I think that was the case last year. I kind of remember free throw shooting being a major storyline for last year's Cy-Hawk women's game as well. Well, we did get a chance to hear from Jan afterwards, after the Hawkeyes suffered their first loss of the year. So let's hear from Coach Jan Jensen.
In here, and that happens in the third quarter, and they don't get a fourth quarter like we had. So I'm really proud. That is a great team, Iowa State, and they had a lot to do with it, but we had a little bit to do with it too. We did not, I wanted to really attack the high post. For some reason, we wouldn't run that as much. We were kind of forgetting, but I think that's the crowd. I think that's the pressure. But when we started to hit that in the fourth quarter, we got a couple drives. We got them a little bit more tighter. We got a couple fouls. So I feel much more positive than negative. I just think it was a great 5-point game. It was within a possession. Had McCabe hit that play that we drew up, it was tied. It was that close, even with a heck of a run that they orchestrated. But yet we clawed back. So I'm really pleased. I think people watching that game, I think that was a fun game. I think we hopefully enhanced why we want to watch women's sports. So I told him afterwards, I addressed the free throws. I addressed we got to keep composure. I certainly gave Iowa State a lot of credit. I always believe in that. And then I said, okay, what's next? And now, we get an opportunity to play on Saturday.
Saturday, tomorrow, as we record this podcast, is going to be against Lindenwood. Decent mid-major team. No cakewalk for the Hawkeyes, but at least a good kind of warm-up game as they go back to face a UConn team. Now, man, the women's schedule almost working out like the men's schedule right now, as they had 2 really tough top 5 teams in a row. Not in a row, but 2 games in a short stretch. And now the Hawkeye women's team has the same thing, as they have Lindenwood, and then the next week is when they go out to Brooklyn, New York to face UConn.
Going to be a tough one. I haven't been able to watch UConn. I think I'm going to try and watch one this week.
Yeah.
But I know they always have great players.
Yeah.
So
like you've known for 30 years what you're going to get out of UConn, and that's exactly what you're getting in this one. As it stands right now, Jan Jensen obviously speaking glowingly of Iowa State and Audie Crooks, who she really recruited hard and almost had her, but in the end, Audie ended up being a Cyclone. Right now, she's leading the nation with 27.3 .3 or .8 points a game, something like that. Second overall in field goal percentage. At this point, I don't know. I mean, this is not an exact parallel, but I am seeing a trend upward with Audie in production, points, scoring, attention, and popularity, where I'm like, by the end of the year, I could see her being a Naismith finalist and being one of the most popular players in the country, who is getting not Caitlin attention, certainly, but is getting a lot of attention. I mean, Audie's going to break a lot of scoring records at Iowa State. She's not going to, get anywhere near Caitlin's scoring records just because she's not a three-point shooter, so doesn't quite have the ability to have the volume of some of those scoring nights that Caitlin did. And yes, we do have to wait and see Audie in the Big 12 and see what she does there. But I don't know. We're seeing her at a point now where it is kind of like Caitlin's junior year, because that's what it was for her. She had outstanding first 2 years, and then it was like midway through her junior season that her popularity really started to take an uphill climb, and then it was when she hit that buzzer beater against Indiana, and it's like, okay, this is one of the biggest names in sports right now. And I don't know, Audie Crooks had an interview on SportsCenter recently. She's had some national attention on her. Like, she is kind of reaching that point where we have this Iowa native again, this one going to a really small high school up in north central Iowa, not far from your hometown in Fort Dodge, it sounds like.
I think
right?
she has some relatives in Fort Dodge.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So there's a lot of Crooks that at least not in my grade, but I've heard the family name. So I wonder, I believe she does. Anyway, it's only like an hour away from my hometown. Are they the favorites in the Big 12, or is TCU?
Ooh, I am not sure exactly what the preseason was. I know I would have looked at that, but
I just meant like this, not the preseason rankings, but like
as of right now,
TCU's ranked 8th. They're ranked 10th. They might go up a little after a solid win last night, or on Wednesday, I should say.
I think after what people have seen out of Audie Crooks and Addie, I mean, that team really has a great big three. And
Jada Williams, we haven't mentioned either.
Yeah, haven't you talked about Jada Williams?
12 assists on Wednesday.
Who is like top 10 in the nation in assists right now. I think she's got over 7 a game. Addie Brown, triple-double threat every time she takes the court. I think after what they've seen, Iowa State has to move into your favorite in the Big 12. Who else do you got? TCU right now ranked 8th. Baylor's in there at 13th. We've seen them against Iowa. Maybe we don't think as highly of them as what the rankings are saying.
They've got a big matchup with Texas this weekend, though, so maybe
Baylor does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that
one thing we talked about too when Iowa going in is one of the game plans going to let Audie cook, limit the other players, and that didn't really work out. You had, along with Audie, 2 other players have double doubles. Jada Williams had it on points and assists. Eddie Brown had it on points and rebounds. And they had some other big plays by other players, but those 3 main ones, they really killed you.
Yeah.
And it's, I think Iowa's defense has greatly improved from last year. I think they've cut off, at least this point in the season, last year they averaged like 66 points a game. Right now they're just averaging 55. I know that's against a lot of lesser opponents, but I wonder if that holds. A lot of that has to do with, bigger players, taller players inside. So we'll see if that is the holds as the season goes on, but that definitely didn't work. And then Audie still got 30 points. So
it seems like the last couple of years, Iowa State, it's like we knew who they were. We know they're a team that Audie can put up some numbers. Addie Brown will have her nights where she puts up numbers, but ultimately they're a team that you can figure out. And Iowa found a way to figure them out, and they had teams found a way to figure them out in the NCAA tournament. But I just don't quite have that same feeling this year. It seems like teams, they know what they're going to do, and Iowa State still seems like they're coming out and they're bringing it to you exactly what you know they're going to do. They do that thing, and it's still successful every time. So I'm very optimistic about what Iowa State is right now. I mean, again, they've only had a couple games against high-quality opponents at this point, but, I'll be interested to see once again in Big 12 play if they can keep that going.
Those 3 players alone had 61 of their 74 points. That I just looked it up because I was wondering. That's a lot more than I thought it was. And it wonders if 1 or 2 players have an off night, then they're probably. I know one of their players was hurt too, Beatty, who I think is a good 3-point shooter. But that does concern you a little bit. But, they're still undefeated, and they're going to be ranked in the top 10.
I suppose. I mean, it's like, yes, injuries are always a concern.
Mackenzie Hare played well, though, too. So, there were other players that did.
Yeah. But overall, that seems like a team right now that has the potential to be a Sweet 16, if not further down the road, doing something else in the tournament. In terms of podcast play, we got anything to tease up for the future? I know that we're kind of in the mystery time of the year. Late December is when we get due. All right, we're going to have to play by ear with when football has some availability and when basketball is playing because we go on a little bit of break here. Got an idea of what we have coming up?
Don't really. I think we're still waiting, right? I mean, you would know more than me about when the football players. We usually do our bowl game preview. I know we had one this week, but like a real bowl game, like with player interviews and kind of just talk to them. But football hasn't really told us when they're talking yet, right?
I have not heard anything from them about when they're talking. I've seen some schedules for when they're down in Tampa, but haven't seen anything for player availability here.
So then I was thinking about skipping a basketball one next week just because I don't really want to break down the Lindenwood and Western Michigan games. We could do a preview against UConn, but I think it'd be better to do a post game on that one. So maybe go a week with that one for basketball, and then once January hits, we'll be doing one once a week.
All right. I like the way you think, Mike. Well, that will do it. We'll wrap things up here for this episode of Eye on the Hawks, and you can keep an eye on our social medias for when the next ones are going to come out. Follow on the Eye on the Hawks on YouTube. Of course, we've got a lot more chances to see this team in person coming up, so we'll have a lot more of these highlights if you watch a show on YouTube. And again, catch Eye on the Hawks wherever you get your podcasting done. So thank you again for Anna, for Mike Howell. I'm Owen Sebring. We'll see you again next time on Eye on the Hawks.
At DePaco Credit Union, we value your health and happiness as much as your financial well-being. We encourage the volunteer spirit by providing DePaco employees with the tools and resources to help grow our communities and support the causes that matter to us. We believe that giving back not only strengthens the places we call home, but also enhances our overall well-being. Well-being is the key to a life worth loving. So when you think about yours, remember that DePaco can help you be well.